John 14:15 says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So, what commandments was the king talking about, right? Could he just talk, knowing that the king is the son of the creator, he's got to be talking about the commandments of God, you know? He's not talking about just his commandments. He's talking about the commandments of the Father. He said, if you love me, keep my commandments as I love the Father and kept his commandments. See? Now, you gotta break that in. Make sure you understand that, okay? If you love me, keep my commandments as I love my Father and kept his commandments. He's telling you to honor your Father. You know what I'm saying? He's teaching you how to honor the Father. Follow his footsteps. He tells you to keep his commandments the same way that he kept the Father's commandments. Meaning, like, there's no one, and he also said in another passage, you are not greater than me. You know what I'm saying? And in Ephesians chapter 6, it says, our attitude should be that the same of the Messiah. You know? And who are we not to keep who are we? Knowing the king kept the commandments of the Creator. Who are we not to? Right? Who are we not to keep the commandments? In John chapter 15, verse 10, if you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So, this is so important that you know. This is in 2 chapters. You got John chapter 14 and John chapter 15. The king talks about keeping the commandments. The commandments are so important. It's an instruction that comes with our species. We actually have instructions. And it helps us stay alive. It helps us love one another and take care of one another. These laws are put in place so that we can take care of each other. But because there ain't no laws and the world is full of lawlessness, right? We're not doing that. We're not taking care of one another. We are not taking care of one another. We're dying, right? Children are getting kidnapped. Family members are getting killed or family members killing. Children rebelling against parents destroying their own children, killing their own children. See, that's proof we're not abiding by laws. And this is just not any law, not the law of the earth, the law of the Spirit. The law of the Spirit is that you keep the laws of the Creator, the commandments, practice them. And when you practice them, you'll be able to see more clearer. But if you're not practicing, you're not going to understand. You're just going to sit on a high seat somewhere looking down on something that you needed to study, but you chose not to study, just sitting on judgment. You're sitting in on judgment on something that you don't really study or learn or know nothing about. So that's a foolish thing to do. A wise person will gain understanding, gain knowledge. As it says in Psalms chapter 119, verse 60, I made haste and delayed not to keep your commandments. This is King David explaining something that he went and did for the Father because he knew how important it was. He made haste. Like they say, history repeats itself, right? And those who do not learn the history, they're doomed to repeat it. And because our fathers and our ancestors had the chance to keep the commandments and chose not to, they were destroyed. So, likewise, what you see is going on with us today. People are getting destroyed. So we need to make haste to keep the commandments like King David did. And I would like for everyone who's watching my video to keep the commandments. But if I could just get one person to take heed to this, that'll be my job is done. But I encourage all of you to do it. The reason why, because you're going to go to hell. The book of Ezra, Second Ezra, explains throughout the whole book that why people are in hell. Over and over and over, you can hear the angel and the Father tell Ezra, because they did not keep my commandments, because they would not take heed to my laws, because they would not keep my commandments. Because they wouldn't do this concerning my commandments. They despised my commandments. They disdained my commandments. They hated my commandments. They hated my people who kept my commandments. Commandments. Man, I hope you take heed to this. The commandments, right? So I encourage you to listen to this, all right? Therefore shall you keep my commandments and do them. I am Abba Yah. Leviticus 22:31. So we have to keep the commandments and do them, all right? Put them into practice. Start doing it now. Like, just start praying and start taking one commandment at a time and meditating on it. And then see what you can do to be a doer of that commandment. And if you are having a hardship or whatever in understanding, whatever, it's okay. Relax. Pray about it. Meditate on it. Let a couple of days go by and wait on the Lord. Wait on the Father. Well, that's how it's supposed to be done. Nothing happens so expedient. Some things takes a day. Some things takes a week. Some things takes a month. Some things take a year. But make sure your effort is there without lacking. That's where you be messing up. But the Most High more than likely will respond concerning His laws very quickly. Your understanding, as long as you effortless and you really care, you're going to understand how to do it. You're going to understand how to go about practicing the Father's laws. It says in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 13, and He declared unto you His promise, which He commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. And He wrote them upon 2 tables of stone. So, that's the 10 commandments. A lot of people don't understand that they break the 10 commandments every day. Especially if you don't keep the Sabbath. Right there. I just told you one I know none of you guys keep. You know what I'm saying? I didn't keep it. So I broke that commandment all the time myself. But now I understand it. I keep the commandment on that for sure. But all the commandments I keep. All the commandments I practice. Better yet, I'm going to say it like that. Because you're supposed to observe them. So observing takes time. So you're not going to be able to keep all the commandments in one setting. But you can observe them and put your effort there. Show that you care. Show the Father that you are trying to do what He expects of you. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's what's perfect in His eyes. That you're making the effort to do what He asks you to do. It's simple. Then over time, after observing for so many years, you will be able to keep the commandments. See how that works? Years. It's going to take you years to observe 613 commandments. So, with that being said, I hope this bear fruit to you. And if it did bear fruit to you, I would appreciate it if you click that like button and click that subscribe button, because I got more videos on keeping the commandments and demons and witches and warlocks, things that you need to know about. But right now, don't go to hell. Practice the commandments of the Creator. Okay? With that being said, shalom.